but also wanted to dispel the popular belief that he was a plagiarizer. If he could read, the Hebrew Bible stories suddenly appeared more miraculous than stolen. Only one problem. Muhammad's Quranic deviations are dead ringers for the Talmud, Jewish oral tradition.
Quran 87, verse 7. Except as he may will, he knows what is hidden.
Holy runaway camel. This is stunning from a scriptural perspective. Muhammad is admitting that he forgets some of what he claims God has revealed. Worse, he's proposing that his forgetfulness is God's fault. So how can he be God's last messenger, the truth-teller for all time, if he can't remember what was said from one day to the next? Divinely inspired scripture is supposed to be timeless instruction. But once again there was a method behind the madness. Muhammad wanted his revelations to be accepted as godly during a time his contemporaries called them the uninspired rantings of a demon-possessed maniac. To mute his mockers, he had to overcome a problem of his own creation. The Meccans knew that real scripture was timeless, not myopic. Godly instructions didn't change or contradict themselves. The Meccans knew Muhammad's scripture didn't meet these criteria. Far too much of it was specific to his personal situation and meaningless beyond it. Worse, it was contradictory and mean-spirited. So Muhammad insisted that changes and contradictions were part of God's plan. In the second surah, he took this preposterous notion to the level of comedy. His spirit said,
When we cancel a message or throw it into oblivion, we replace it with a better one.
In the Hadith we discover that this prophet couldn't be trusted.
Bukhari. The prophet said, if I take an oath and later find something else better than that, then I do what is better and expiate my oath. Umar said, the best Quran reciter is Ubay. And in spite of this, we leave out some of his statements because Allah's apostle himself said, whatever verse or revelation we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we bring a better one.
This is one of many reasons I have reordered the Quran chronologically. If one verse encourages peace and another contradicts it by ordering Muslims to fight, the one which came later cancels the earlier one, casting it into oblivion. Unfortunately, the Quran's most violent surahs are its last surahs.
Quran 87, verse 8. And we will make it easy for you, for the easy way. Therefore do not remind in case the reminder profits.
I knew it. I'm just glad Muhammad admitted it.
The reminder profits.
The wannabe prophet recognized what every tyrant knows. Tell a lie often enough, and enough people will believe it for you to profit.
Quran 87, verse 10. He who fears will mind.
This verse proclaims the means behind the madness. Fear serves Islam the same way it serves all totalitarian societies. Fear causes people to mind, to obey. Now you know why Muhammad found it profitable to frighten his tribe with tales of a hateful God eager to burn them. Now you know why hell's torments are so vividly described. Throughout time, dictators like Muhammad have risen to fame and fortune by deploying the politics of fear and intimidation. While much of the Quran has been foolish, fretful, and fanatical, this pearl is not. Fear is essential to any dictatorial regime. It was behind the peace of the Pax Romana. It was the control mechanism behind the Inquisition. Fear is the reason we see blind obedience in every Muslim state. While this jewel was political, not religious, and sinister, not inspirational, we have finally found something meritorious, or at least true, in the Quran.
Quran 87, verse 12. Who will be flung in to burn in the great fire, and be made to taste its burning, in which they will then neither die nor live?
The Lord must have been distracted, because he didn't answer his question. I checked 10 translations. All asked the question, none answered it. For a book that claims to be divinely inspired, this one has 1,000 verses that suggest otherwise.
Verse 14. He indeed shall be successful who purifies himself and magnifies the name of his Lord and prays.
Although this sounds religious, the transition from flinging folks into the fire isn't. Further,
magnifying the name of the Lord
is defined in later surahs as
Allahu Akbar.
It's the
prayer of fear
designed to terrorize non-Muslims. It means Allah is greatest. What's interesting is that Islam's signature line destroys Islam's credibility. If we all worship the same God, if there is but one God, and if the Quran's God is the same Spirit who inspired the Bible, as Muslims claim, this equivalence repudiates the notion of superiority.
Quran 87 verse 18. Verily, this is in the books of the earliest revelation, in the former scrolls and scriptures, the books of Abraham and Moses.
If the new religion is like the old religion, why does God want and why does man need a new religion? If these scriptures are the same as the old ones, then why can't we find any of these Mohammedisms in the original version? And God is supposed to know what he's talking about. There were no books of Abraham.
Quran 88, verse 1. Has the narration reached you of the overwhelming calamity?
Good grief. Muhammad has repeated this dreadful tale of woe so many times he's become the prophet of doom.
Some faces, all believers, Jews and Christians, that day will be humiliated, downcast, scorched by the burning fire, while they are made to drink from a boiling hot spring.
Muhammad's continued desire to burn his detractors and force them to drink boiling water serves as confirmation he was abused. In all probability, he was burnt with fire and punished with scalding water. Still feeling unloved, the victimized boy became victimizer by threatening all who stood in his way with the same torments he himself endured. The lack of any historical evidence, scriptural or otherwise, surrounding Muhammad's childhood makes the molestation charge difficult to prove. All we have is the testimony of the victim, yet it is plentiful, consistent, and convincing. Muhammad's desire to see his critics punished, to suffer in the same manner he suffered, is unexplainable any other way. Victims victimize in like fashion. Abuse breeds abuse.
Quran 88, verse 6. They shall have no food but a poisonous plant with bitter thorns, which will neither nourish nor satisfy hunger.
It obviously haunted him, and his torments have survived to haunt us today. Even as he transitions to paradise, Muhammad can't restrain himself. He must tweak the nose of those who are verbally abusing him. Heaven is being rid of them. In a way, it's very, very sad.
Quran 88, verse 8. Other faces will be joyful, glad with their endeavor. In a lofty garden they hear no harmful speech. Verse 12. Therein will be a bubbling spring, raised throne like couches, drinking cups ready placed, cushions set in rows, and rich silken carpets all spread out.
In most political doctrines, utopia reflects the desires of the inventor. The more vividly Muhammad portrays heaven, the more we learn about his ambitions. Just as in his depictions of hell, with each word we see the prophet more clearly. For a closer look, consider
Bukhari. Allah's apostle said, the first group who will enter paradise will be glittering like the moon, and those who will follow will glitter like the most brilliant star. They will not urinate, relieve nature, spit, or have any nasal secretions. Their combs will be gold, and their sweat will smell like musk. Their companions will be houris, or virgins. All of them will look alike, and will be 60 cubits tall.
Without missing a beat, we turn from paradise to camels.
Quran 88, verse 17. Will they not consider the camels, how they are created, and the sky, how it is raised, the mountains, how they are rooted, and the earth, how it is spread out?
Unable to perform a miracle, Muhammad claimed the oddest things as proof.
Verse 21. So remind, you are only a reminder. You are not a warden over them, except for those who turn away and disbelieve, in which case he will be punished with the severest punishment. Verily to us they will return.
The Islamic God is saying that